teams we expected to be in this matchup at the start of the season. We expected more from the Cowboys, although their offseason was without incident, let's say, and then San Francisco plagued by injury. What did you make of this game and San Francisco's eventual win? How were they able to get there?
Well, the most, I guess, encouraging thing for me when I look at this ball game was seeing San Francisco finally seal the deal. In moments throughout this season, for them, they found ways to squander away double-digit leads in the second half. It's encouraging because that has been their Achilles heel when you talk about dominating for 3 or 3.5 quarters of a ball game and still losing. So that's very, very encouraging. I'm loving what I'm seeing with the running game. Even though you lost your starting running back, Isaac Guerrero came into the ball game, didn't miss a beat. They dominated in the trenches. That's a bright spot. Hopefully they can find a way to get healthier to be able to be more productive and consistent. But right now, you have to play with the cards that you currently have in your hand.
And the production, it's right there in the numbers. This is a team that rushed it for 223 yards on the ground. Anytime a Kyle Shanahan-led offensive attack puts 2-2-3, they're going to have a good time putting points on the board and putting a win in the column, and that's exactly what they do in this instance. It's got to be hard for a guy like Kyle Shanahan, who knows he has wrinkles to the offensive attack that he just can't get to right now. When you look at San Francisco as they try and ramp back up to full health and being a true contender in the NFC, do you see the foundation of it still?
I still see it there because they still have some dudes in the locker room that are healthy enough to play. For them, they just got to be more consistent. That's the issue because for San Francisco over the last few years under Kyle Shanahan, we've seen slow starts by them, especially in the month of September and half of October. But now is usually the time where they kind of turn for the better, right? That's what we've seen in years past. Let's see that common theme surface once again for the San Francisco 49ers because today,
they're not the juggernaut of a division that we've come to expect there out west, but they're doing what's required with less talent than they're used to. Talk to me about halftime and what we saw coming out of it, because that third quarter, if you look back at this tape, is going to be the difference in this football game. One team got out of the locker room, the other one did not. Is this a matter of one coach putting into practice what another coach can't? I guess let's dovetail this into the shortcomings of Dallas. How much do you point to the head man?
Well, when you look at the out of halftime surges for San Francisco, primarily speaking, what I saw was adjustments. And then also, too, I saw improvising by the quarterback in Brock Purdy. Joe, when you look at what Brock Purdy was doing, he was making things happen with his legs. Brock Purdy is not known to be a mobile quarterback, but he has the necessary athleticism needed to be able to extend plays and make things happen with his legs. And there lies the difference. Brock Purdy made things happen with his legs. He became more of a playmaker in the third quarter that kind of jump-started the kick for their offense to score points. And then also, he protected the football, smarter with the football, played cleaner football. That's the difference in tonight's matchup between the two starting quarterbacks, because Dak Prescott finally started to get things going in the fourth quarter, but it was a little too late. You talk about the timely turnovers, the untimely turnovers that we saw from Dak Prescott. You have to get those out of your game when you're playing against a team like the San Francisco 49ers, a playoff caliber team. And when you look at the drought that you're currently sitting in as the Dallas Cowboys, you can't have these untimely turnovers happen week in and week out.
Dallas has now given up 80 points over these last two games, taking it away 0 times.
And the thing is, they allowed 30 points, but the defense played better.
Yeah.
They did. The first half was much improved. They just got to find a way to sustain that level of play for 4 quarters.
It's interesting because these are two teams that we often have conversations about within a playoff context. The expectation is that. It's always going to be that in these places. There aren't many down years, or at least in recent memory, there haven't been down years for these two teams. This feels like a down year for Dallas where they're currently standing, and feels like a year where San Francisco is not currently performing up to their standard. When you look at the greater NFC playoff picture, do you see one of these teams? Do you see both of these teams? Do you see neither of these teams?
Best case scenario, I see one. Right now, the Dallas Cowboys, they're not a playoff caliber team. Regardless of what we've seen in years past, the teams that won 12 games, 13 games, they're not the same ball club. And we haven't seen progression from the Dallas Cowboys. The same team that we saw before the bye, we pretty much saw in tonight's matchup as well. And one luxury the Dallas Cowboys had at their disposal for quite some time over the last few years was the luxury of being a part of a bad division. Where it was basically a 2-team race and you were one of the teams. Now the division has improved. The Washington Commanders, they can go.
Yep.
Philadelphia
6-2, a current 2 seed.
is finding their stride. And the New York Giants, barring their overall schedule, record, they're not a good team, but they're still a competitive team. If you're not careful, they can beat you.
Showed the ability to go on the road, win at a place like Seattle.
Exactly.
That will continue to be what we point to. But, Mac, it's that time of year. We're getting to the halfway mark. You're looking at the seeding right there.
Yes.
It's got to stir something within
Yes,
you.
and I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but the Cowboys are not a playoff team.
Yeah.
I don't see them making the playoffs. Now, there's a lot of football left to be played, but unless we see a drastic change within their team, a drastic change within their neighborhood, which is the NFC East, they're going to be on the outside looking in.
Let's throw those seedings back up because I'm struck by the amount of talent from that 5-win to 4-win line right now. You're looking at the likes of the Vikings, who, yes, started 5-0, now 5-2. The Eagles, who, despite everyone telling you the sky is falling, still remain high in flight. The Bears, coming off heartbreak, we'll see what becomes of them. The Buccaneers, Niners, and Seahawks, all 4-win teams. I know strength of schedule says Chicago's got the toughest time moving forward, but when you look at those groups and the data points we now have, anybody on the outside looking in catch your eye?
2 teams for sure. Seattle. Not Seattle. San Francisco and the Rams.
You like the Rams.
Listen.
It's an uphill climb, but I like what you like it as well.
But the Rams, when they have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua.
Don't discount Kyron Williams' impact.
And Kyron Williams, who's been in the lineup, but the other guys who've missed time because of injuries. When they have those guys, they can compete with the best of the best in the NFC. Yeah. We saw that this past Thursday night against Minnesota. And remember, they're just getting this thing started because those guys have missed some time. So when you look at the balance in Kyron Williams, how he's running the football, Matthew Stafford is so good. The thing about Matthew Stafford, we just grown so accustomed to seeing him just do the unthinkable, you kind of overlook it. But he is a really good quarterback, and he has 2 legit football players that happen to play the wide receiver position, and one of the best coaches in the National Football League in Sean McVay, who I believe is a top 3 coach, worst case scenario in the NFL. If they stay healthy, because they're not afraid of the teams in the division. They're not afraid of Arizona, who currently has the top seed in the NFC West. They're not afraid of San Francisco. They already beat San Francisco without those guys. So if they just stay healthy, that's the team you need to monitor.
I'm just smiling because I love this league so much, man. 6 days ago, we're talking about potentially Cooper Kupp playing in a different uniform. Even Matthew Stafford, some static about him playing elsewhere, a team that needs it right now.
Stay put, stay patient.
LA.
Everything I just laid for you, did I say a lie? Did I mention
I'm
any
right there
lies?
with you. The only thing I will
just wanna
say,
make sure. What?
3-4, halfway mark. You got to get it up to 500. You got to keep playing good football. But to your point, that division, not what we expected of it.
They have a lot of confidence. Your boys are the team I'm worried about. Because they squandered away an opportunity in the Chicago Bears. You know, we look at that traffic jam of light teams.
We only get 1 hour in this wheel. And
we can go another
plenty of time.
There's a lot to talk about.
Given the comeuppance to the Chicago Bears. Another fantastic Sunday from the great Bryant McFadden here on CBS Sports HQ as we take a look at Dak Prescott's numbers against the Niners. His last 4, not great. 15.8 points per game. What's supposed to be a potent offense, touchdown to interception ratio, 5 to 8. It's a defense struggling to take it away, an offense that's giving it away, and a waning hope in the center of the star.